Most people think expensive cigars automatically taste better than cheap cigars, and most people are wrong. The difference between a $10 cigar and a $10,000 cigar has almost nothing to do with how it sits on the palate. It has everything to do with understanding what you're actually paying for at each level. There are 7 levels of cigars. By the end of this, you will know exactly what to buy and whether or not you're just paying for a fancy box. Level 1. Machine made. This is the ground floor of the cigar world, but not because nobody buys it. Quite the opposite. In 2025, mass market cigars made up roughly 78% of global cigar volume. This tier is huge because it's built for one thing: efficiency. These are the cigars you find behind the counter at gas stations and convenience stores. Here's what most people get wrong about machine made. They're not failed premium cigars. They're specifically designed to be fast, familiar, and available. If you're lighting up a black and mild and wondering why cigar nerds get emotional about fermentation and long filler, you're missing the point. These cigars exist for convenience, and the sweet flavoring, cherry, vanilla, grape, is doing exactly what it was designed to do, making cheaper, rougher tobacco easier to smoke. What makes this tier possible is homogenized tobacco leaf, or HTL, developed in the 1950s by General Cigar Co. Instead of using whole premium leaves, manufacturers can take tobacco scraps, mix them with cellulose adhesive, and press the material into uniform sheets. That's why a cigar like Swisher Sweets can be produced at an enormous scale and still deliver the same basic experience over and over. In fact, Swisher produces more than 2 billion cigars a year and sells in more than 70 countries. That consistency matters more here than complexity ever could. A good benchmark for level 1 is Black and Mild Original. Prices are often around $1 a stick in larger online packs, though the exact number depends heavily on the format and retailer. And with its pipe tobacco blend in a homogenized wrapper, it delivers exactly what this level is supposed to deliver: a cheap, smooth, consistent smoke. Level 2. Mixed filler. This is where cigars stop being a pure commodity and start becoming something you might actually look forward to. Mixed filler cigars are usually handmade, but instead of using pristine long filler leaves throughout, they use a mix of long and short filler tobacco. Smokers usually call them Cuban sandwiches, which is the standard cigar term here. You will also hear names like fumas, seconds, and throwouts, but those are not all exactly the same thing. These cigars are often built with shorter cuts and mixed fill tobacco, then finished with a real binder and wrapper leaf to create something handmade, affordable, and actually enjoyable. Closely related to this tier are factory seconds and throwouts from houses like Oliva and Arturo Fuente. So do cigars like Rocky Patel Mulligans and Bella Cuba. You're usually looking at under $5 a stick, and often closer to $2 or $3 in bundles. A lower price to something important. It makes handmade cigars feel like a daily option instead of a special occasion purchase. You can actually light one on a random Wednesday without feeling like you just set a $20 bill on fire. But here's what the marketing will not tell you. The biggest appeal is not just that these cigars are cheap, it's that they give smokers access to a handmade smoking experience without the premium markup. That is why seconds, throwouts, and mixed fill bundles make so much sense at this level. The logic is simple: use more of the leaf and waste less of it. A trade-off is that shorter filler tobaccos tend to burn faster, burn hotter, and offer less complexity than a true long filler cigar. So no, this is not a 3-act symphony. It's a good playlist, and for a daily smoke, that is more than enough. A good benchmark for level 2 is Bella Cuba. It delivers the whole point of this tier: a handmade, mixed filler smoke at a price that feels easy to justify. Level 3, long filler. This is where the real world of premium cigars officially begins. At level 3, you're no longer buying a cigar just because it's cheap, convenient, or good enough for the moment. You're buying it because you actually want the experience. The ritual starts to matter here. A true premium cigar at this level is handmade, built with a primarily long filler core and finished with a whole leaf wrapper and leaf binder. No synthetic shortcuts, no reconstituted tobacco science experiment. What you're getting here is the real premium cigar experience. The classics at this level are Macanudo Cafe, Arturo Fuente Gran Reserva, Monte Cristo White Series, Ashton Classic, and Romeo y Julieta 1875. You're usually spending about $8 to $18 a stick here, depending on the line and vitola, with Macanudo Cafe and Arturo Fuente on the lower end, and Monte Cristo White Series or Ashton Classic creeping higher. Commercial long fillers are designed to be approachable. They give you real flavor diversity, cream, cedar, nuts, a little spice, maybe a touch of sweetness, without turning the cigar into some aggressive palate exam. More importantly, they give you consistency, and in cigars, that matters, because nothing kills the mood faster than paying premium money for a plug stick. But here's what most people get wrong about Level 3. The mistake beginners make is assuming these cigars are somehow boring. They're not. They're the foundation on which premium cigar brands build their reputations. If a company cannot make a dependable core line, the fancy limited editions are not going to save it. At this level, you are paying for craftsmanship, brand trust, and consistency. The draw should be right. The burn should behave. The flavor should make sense. In cigars, that kind of predictability is a luxury. This is where someone stops grabbing a cigar and starts choosing one. And once that happens, there is usually no going back. If you're enjoying this so far, hit subscribe. We make videos about cigars, cigar culture, and the stories behind the smoke. Level 4, Single Country Puros. This is where smokers stop asking what brand it is and start asking where the tobacco is from. At this level, the game shifts from brand loyalty to origin. Once a smoker develops a palate, origin stops being background information and becomes part of the experience. Soil matters, climate matters, seed matters. Level 5, Boutique. Now we enter the territory where cigars start requiring serious consideration before you buy them. At this level, you're no longer just paying for origin, you're paying for the process, the priming, the fermentation, the age of the leaf, and the tiny technical decisions that can turn a good cigar into one that feels polished, precise, and deeply intentional. Better fermented leaf tends to lose some of the rougher edges, develop more aromatic complexity than rushed tobacco ever will, and that refinement comes with real production cost. Premium cigar tobacco loses an enormous amount of weight before it ever becomes a finished cigar. Fresh leaf can lose up to roughly 80% of its weight during drying and curing. Then, grading starts, and grading is ruthless. For premium Connecticut broadleaf, industry sources have described a wrapper yield of around 30% because wrapper leaf has to be wide, elastic, uniform in color, and nearly flawless. One blemish, one bruise, one color issue, and a leaf can drop from wrapper money to filler money fast. You're not just paying for aging, you're paying for loss, selection, and standards. The benchmark makers at this level are people like Steve Sucker and Nick Maio. Sucker's Sin Compromiso, literally without compromise, is basically level 5 in one sentence. Foundation and cigars like the Tabernacle live in that same world, where sourcing, aging, blending, construction, and burn are treated as part of the project. Prices at this level usually range from about $12 to $20 a stick, with limited editions pushing higher. Here, you need to be honest with yourself. Not every smoker can fully appreciate what they are paying for at this level. The differences are real, but they are more technical than obvious. You need a more developed palate to value fermentation quality, leaf selection, yield discipline, and blending intent for what they actually are. If you cannot explain why one cigar feels more polished than another, beyond saying it tastes expensive, you might be better served spending that money across more cigars at level 4. Level 6, Reserva. This is where cigars transition from everyday pleasures to a real occasion. A standard premium cigar will often use tobacco that has already been aged for a few years before rolling. At this level, the leaf is usually given extra age, sometimes 5 years, sometimes a decade, and in a few ultra-premium cases, even longer before it ever reaches your humidor. The difference is profound. Extra age, better leaf selection, and tighter construction create a cigar that feels more polished, more deliberate, and more complete. The burn should be cleaner, the draw should be easier, the transitions should feel smoother and more integrated. Level 7, Gran Reserva. We have officially left the realm of smoking and entered the world of collecting. At level 7, you will find cigars and special releases that sell for thousands of dollars, sometimes far more. Limited production, discontinued runs, historic releases, tobacco that cannot be replicated, Boxes that become more valuable the moment fewer of them remain unopened. Cohiba Behiki dominates this space. Behiki uses medio tiempo, a rare top leaf that appears on only a small fraction of tobacco plants. In February 2025, a humidor packed with 400 Cohiba Behiki cigars sold at the Habanos Festival in Havana for 4.6 million euros. That works out to roughly 11,500 euro a cigar. That's not a casual smoke anymore. That is a trophy with a cigar band. Then you have Davidoff Oro Blanco's Special Reserve 111 years. Davidoff says the blend combines tobaccos with a cumulative age of 111 years, and that it is rolled only by master roller supervisors with more than 20 years of experience. When it launched, Cigar Aficionado reported the price at $750 per cigar. The rarest Fuente Opus X Heaven and Earth releases live in this same world. Rare vintage cigars, limited edition travel humidors, and charity-linked ultra-limited releases. The kinds of cigars people chase like they're trying to catch a comet. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth about Level 7. Most people who buy these cigars do not smoke them. They are collectibles. They're status symbols. They are humidor pieces with ash potential. And honestly, that's fine. The cigar world has always had a place for myth, ritual, and flexing. But if you're buying ultra-rare cigars because you think they will taste proportionately better than a great cigar at level 4 or even 5, you're going to be disappointed. The law of diminishing returns hits hard at the top. Buy a few cigars at level 3 to figure out what profiles you actually enjoy. Explore level 4 to understand what different regions taste like. Splurge occasionally on level 5 or 6 when you want something special. Unless you're building a collection, ignore level 7 entirely. That money buys a whole lot of excellent cigars instead of one legendary one. And a whole lot of excellent cigars will bring you a lot more enjoyment over time. The best cigar is the one you actually smoke.